Imagine this. A young man spends days traveling through mountains just to meet an old monk whose wisdom has become legendary. People say that kings once visited him. Wealthy merchants waited for hours just to hear a single sentence. Some claimed that speaking to him for 5 minutes changed their entire lives. The young man finally reaches the monastery. He bows respectfully and asks one question. "Master, how do I stop feeling anxious all the time?" The monk doesn't answer. Instead, he quietly walks inside a small wooden room and returns holding a simple glass filled with water. He places the glass in the young man's hand. Then he says only one sentence. "Hold this until I come back." The young man smiles. It seems like a strange request, but harmless. 1 minute passes, then 5, then 10. His arm begins to ache. The glass hasn't changed. The water hasn't changed. But somehow, it feels much heavier than before. Finally, the monk returns. He looks at the young man and asks, "Did the glass become heavier?" "No," the young man replies. "It only feels heavier." The monk smiles. So does anxiety. The longer you hold it, the heavier it becomes. That simple lesson contains one of the most powerful principles ever taught by monks, a rule so simple that most people ignore it, a rule that modern psychology is only beginning to explain. And by the end of this video, you may never think about anxiety the same way again. Because what you're about to hear isn't about escaping problems. It's about escaping the prison your own mind quietly builds around them. Every human being experiences anxiety. It doesn't matter how successful you are, how intelligent you are, how wealthy you become, or how peaceful your life appears from the outside. Anxiety visits everyone. Students worry about exams. Parents worry about their children. Business owners worry about money. Athletes worry about failure. Even people who seem perfectly calm often fight silent battles no one else can see. Most people believe anxiety comes from difficult situations, but monks observed something different. They noticed that two people could experience the exact same event. Yet only one would continue suffering long afterward. Why? Because the event wasn't creating the suffering anymore. The mind was. Imagine someone doesn't reply to your message. For a few seconds, nothing happens. Then your thoughts begin. Maybe they're angry. Maybe I said something wrong. What if they don't like me anymore? What if something terrible happened? Within minutes, your heart starts beating faster. Your stomach feels tight. Your body reacts as if those imagined stories are real. But notice something important. Nothing actually changed. Only your thoughts did. This is where monks believed anxiety begins. Not in reality, but inside the stories the mind keeps creating. The human brain is an incredible machine. It constantly predicts the future. It searches for danger. It imagines possible outcomes. Thousands of years ago, this ability helped our ancestors survive. If they ignored danger, they died. If they imagined danger, they survived. So evolution rewarded cautious minds. But today's world is different. Most dangers aren't lions hiding behind trees. They're emails, deadlines, bills, relationships, social media, opinions. The brain still uses ancient survival systems for modern problems. And sometimes, those systems never switch off. Instead of protecting us, they exhaust us. Monks noticed this long before neuroscience existed. They realized the mind loves creating imaginary futures, most of which never happen. One old monk reportedly said, "The mind is an excellent servant, but a terrible master." Think about that. How many times have you worried about something only to discover later that none of it happened? Maybe you imagined failing an interview, then you got the job. Maybe you expected someone to reject you. Instead, they welcomed you. Maybe you spent weeks worrying about a conversation. That lasted only 2 minutes. The suffering was real, but the danger wasn't. This is why monks spent years training one skill above everything else. Not strength, not intelligence, not confidence. Attention. Because wherever attention goes, your emotional energy follows. If attention keeps returning to fearful thoughts, fear grows. If attention returns to the present, fear slowly loses its power. Most people think monks became peaceful because they escaped the world. That's not true. They became peaceful because they stopped fighting battles that only existed inside their own minds. One day, a visitor asked a monk, "How do you remain calm? When life is uncertain?" The monk answered, "Life has always been uncertain. Only your illusion of control has changed." That answer surprises many people. We spend our lives trying to eliminate uncertainty. We want guarantees. We want perfect plans. We want complete control. But reality never promised any of those things. Every day contains uncertainty. Always has, always will. The monk wasn't saying uncertainty disappears. He was saying your relationship with uncertainty can change. Most anxiety comes from trying to control what cannot be controlled. Tomorrow. Other people. The economy. Aging. Death. The opinions of strangers. The weather. Luck. No matter how much you worry, none of these become fully controllable. Yet people spend years mentally fighting them. It's like trying to stop the ocean with your hands. Eventually, you become exhausted. Not because the ocean is too strong, but because the fight itself never ends. This brings us to the monk rule. A rule so simple, you might underestimate it. The rule is this: never suffer twice. Pain is part of life, but replaying pain is optional. Imagine walking through a forest. A thorn pierces your foot. The pain is real. You remove the thorn, then continue walking. That's healthy suffering. Now imagine another person. They remove the thorn, but spend the next 6 hours thinking about it. They replay the moment. They complain about it. They imagine it happening again. They tell everyone they meet. The body experienced pain once. The mind experienced it hundreds of times. That is second suffering. Monks trained themselves to recognize the moment second suffering begins. The instant the mind starts replaying old pain, they gently return to the present, again and again. Not because it's easy, because it's necessary. This doesn't mean pretending everything is okay. It doesn't mean suppressing emotions. It doesn't mean ignoring genuine problems. It means refusing to let yesterday continue hurting today. Modern psychology has discovered something remarkably similar. Researchers studying rumination found that repeatedly replaying stressful events often increases emotional distress. The original event ends, but the mind continues creating stress responses. Heart rate rises, muscles tighten, stress hormones remain active. The body reacts as if the danger still exists, even when nothing dangerous is happening. This is why anxiety can feel so real. Your body doesn't always distinguish between actual danger and vividly imagined danger. Think about nightmares. While dreaming, your heart races, your breathing changes. You sweat. Your body reacts to something that isn't physically happening. The same mechanism can happen during anxious thinking. The imagined future creates a real physical response. Monks understood this through observation. Scientists study it through research. Different paths. Very similar conclusion. Here's another lesson monks often taught. You cannot stop birds from flying over your head, but you can stop them from building a nest. Thoughts are like birds. You cannot control every thought entering your mind. No human can. Trying to force thoughts away often makes them stronger. But you can decide whether to feed them, whether to believe them, whether to keep replaying them. Imagine standing beside a river. Leaves float past. Some are green, some are brown, some are large, some are tiny. You watch them pass. You don't jump into the river chasing every leaf. Thoughts work the same way. They appear, they disappear, unless you jump into every single one. Most people don't realize how much energy they lose arguing with their own thoughts. A fearful thought appears. Immediately they debate it, fight it, analyze it, repeat it. Hours disappear. Nothing changes. The thought simply becomes stronger. Monks practiced something different. Notice, accept, release. Notice the thought. Accept that it exists. Release the need to follow it, again and again. Thousands of times. Peace wasn't one decision, it was thousands of tiny decisions repeated every day. Another visitor once asked, "What is the secret to a peaceful life?" The monk pointed toward the sky. Clouds drifted overhead. The monk smiled. Do the clouds ask permission before moving? No. Then why do you ask your thoughts to disappear before living your life? That answer contains incredible wisdom. Many people postpone happiness until their minds become completely quiet. But minds rarely become completely quiet, especially human minds. The goal isn't to eliminate thinking. The goal is to stop becoming imprisoned by every thought. Imagine driving a car. Every few miles you pass a billboard. Some are interesting, some are strange, some are completely irrelevant. You don't stop your car and analyze every billboard. You keep driving. Thoughts deserve the same treatment. Some deserve attention, many do not. The problem is that anxiety convinces us every fearful thought is urgent. It whispers, "Figure this out right now. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if you're making a mistake? What if everything goes wrong?" Hours later, nothing has changed except your exhaustion. One of the greatest illusions anxiety creates is the illusion that worrying equals preparing. It doesn't. Preparation involves action. Worry often involves repetition. Preparation solves problems. Worry circles around them. Monks learned to separate these two things. If something required action, they acted.